You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And the San Francisco Giants snapped their 4-game losing skid today with a 10-0 emphatic win over the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards. Blake Snell continued his dominant second half with another masterclass as he struck out 12 of the 21 batters he faced today, allowing just one hit and no runs over 6 innings of work. And it was a Mikey Yastrzemski revenge game today as he got the Giants on the board in the first inning with the second pitch of the game. He smashed a leadoff home run against the franchise that he came up with in the minor leagues, but that never gave him a shot in the bigs. The offense batted around and tacked on 6 runs in the 9th inning just for good measure in this dominant win. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're tuning into the show, we appreciate you guys checking it out and making us your first listen following these Giants games. And for your second listen, make sure you check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. And now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet just $5 and get a free 3-week trial of NFL Sunday Ticket. Time is running out, so get on this one from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Yes, as I said, started this one off on a high note, man, right over the right field wall, and it was not a cheap shot, man. 416 feet, 104 miles an hour off the bat, his 16th bomb of the year, and Mike Yastrzemski, man, really making a case for himself going into arbitration in this offseason if that's what happens, if the Giants are unable to get a deal done with him before then. I kind of am thinking that he's going to be the 4th outfielder next year and maybe more like the 3.5 outfielder, because who knows if McRae is going to stick. I think he'll be given a long extended look. But Mike Yastrzemski has been so hot at the end of this year and has played so well that, I mean, it is a little, a better late than never kind of feeling, but still like too little too late also at the same time from Mike Yastrzemski. This would have been great to see earlier in this season when the Giants were, still in playoff contention and all that kind of stuff, but still 16 bombs for Mike Yastrzemski. Maybe he can add on like 2 or 3 more before the end of the season, close in on that 20 number. I mean, that's not a bad number for Mike Yastrzemski. And it had to have felt good to get into that one, man. I mean, the former Orioles farm system guy was stuck in their farm system forever and doesn't ever get a shot to come up and play for the big league team. Comes out to San Francisco and has been a mainstay with the Giants for the last 6 years. This isn't his first time back in Baltimore. He's been there before. But how good's it got to feel to come up there first at bat of the game and smash that home run? Interestingly enough, the starting pitcher for the Orioles tonight, Andrew Suarez, forever Giant. This guy last pitched in the bigs for the 2016-2017 San Francisco Giants. You heard Hunter Pence in the booth today on the NBC Sports Bay Area broadcast talking about when the two were teammates, and I thought that was a little crazy how this guy circled all the way back to the big leagues. He spent some time in the D-backs minor leagues after they selected him as a Rule 5 guy, and then didn't really stick, and he had to go all the way out to Japan and Korea and spent, I think, like 5 or 6 seasons between the two before making it back here and finally playing this season for the Orioles. So he's had a decent year for them as well, holding it down towards the bottom of that rotation. So interesting story, Andrew Suarez. Mike Yastrzemski got the better of him in this at-bat, though. And it's interesting, the Giants have a lot of Orioles connections, man. I mean, obviously, the John Miller connection. John Miller used to be the Orioles play-by-play guy until the Giants got him. And I'm glad he's a Giant, man. I'm glad he's calling Giants games, not Orioles games. And also, Lamont Wade Jr., who had a pretty nice night tonight as well. Lamont Wade, a couple of hits for him, a couple of RBIs there in the 9th inning as well. And you saw, I mean, he said that on the broadcast that we're talking about how Lamont Wade had 125-ish friends and family, 125-ish friends and family. Could you imagine that, man? I don't think I even know 125 people who would want to grab a beer with me on a given day, like individually. Can you imagine getting 125 people to all do the same thing at the same time and come out to stuff? That's crazy to me, man. So good for Lamont Wade Jr., a very likable guy, Lamont Wade Jr., clearly, with all that fanfare he had out there at the yard today. So good for him. You saw when he ripped that single in the 9th inning and scored those 2 runs, you saw him crack a little bit of a smile there and kind of looking up into the stands. You know, I think that he was pretty happy to have that moment in front of his friends and family. And for Lamont Wade, it was his first time playing in Baltimore. A kid grew up in the Baltimore area, went to high school out there, went to college out there. So really good to see from Lamont Wade Jr. But ultimately, the best thing about today was Blake Snell, man. I mean, this guy was absolutely dominant. He continued his, super dominant stretch that he's had in the second half of the season. I mean, we've talked about it a ton. This guy, he had a little bit of a road bump with his a couple games ago with getting that pitch count pretty high, but it's his 12th start since returning from his second IL stint on July 9th. And coming into this one, he had a 1.45 ERA with 93 strikeouts and a batting average against of 130 during that stretch. Incredible. And somehow it got even better today for Blake Snell. I mean, ERA dropped from 1.45 down a little bit. His ERA on the season, by the way, remember, this was up over 12 at one point in the beginning of the season after his first 6 or 7 starts. So it wasn't just after his first 1 or 2. His ERA for the season now down to 3.31. This guy has had such a massive second half of the season that he's putting up, I mean, I don't think he's going to get Cy Young consideration very much, at least because of how bad that first half was. But maybe he sneaks in towards the bottom of the ballot, gets some down ballot votes for the Cy Young just based on this second half, man. He has been so good. And tonight, again, equally as impressive as he has been throughout the rest of this stretch. 6 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts, man, 12 strikeouts, only 2 walks and 1 hit. Blake Snell was hitting all of his spots. He had 5 looking strikeouts. I mean, so guys were just watching that fastball in there, sneaking it in for strike 3. It's got to be hard to make the decision out of the hand on Snell if that ball's gonna break into the dirt or if it's gonna hit that corner of the strike zone for strike 3. And today, Snell was freezing guys with that fastball. One of my favorite at-bats from today, Blake Snell had Kobe Mayo up at the dish. This was interesting for me because if you guys remember correctly, I don't expect you to, but if you do, I was calling for the Giants to call up the Orioles and give them Blake Snell for Kobe Mayo and get this done. The big, giant third baseman who looks like he's just going to be a surefire, masher at the big league level. This guy's 6'5", I think I heard John Miller say today. Kobe Miller is. So I really wanted, Kobe is. So I really wanted to see him in a Giants uniform. I really wanted to see Kobe Mayo, not Miller. He's had a rough start since he came up to the bigs. He had two at-bats against Blake Snell today, struck out both times. In the second one, Blake Snell threw him absolutely nothing but changeups. I think he threw him 4 or 5 changeups in a row, and this guy swung and missed at all of them. So Blake Snell had, whatever he wanted to do up there on the mound today, he was doing it, man. It seemed like he had gone through that Snellzilla binder pretty thoroughly and knew exactly how to attack every single one of these Orioles hitters. The Giants, the bullpen comes in and does their job. They shut the Orioles down as well and don't allow any runs. They did allow a couple base runners, couple hits, no walks from the bullpen, but they did give up 4 hits on the night. Didn't matter. None of those runners ended up coming around to score. The Giants collect their 9th shutout of the season as a squad, and they pick up a win on the road, which is good for this team because they have really been struggling, a lot lately. Their road record in general this year, not just lately. They haven't been struggling on the road lately. They've been struggling on the road the whole damn season. They entered today with the 31-41 road record. That's the 431 road winning percentage, 22nd out of 30 MLB clubs. So that's not where you want to be at all. So the Giants improve on that one as well. It took us a little while to pour on all these runs, although the Giants did jump out early after that Mike Yastrzemski bomb, that solo home run to lead off the game. In the second inning, the Giants added on 2 more runs, and I really wanted to talk about this specifically because the Giants had some really nice, productive at-bats with less than 2 outs and runners in scoring position. The Giants loaded the bases with 1 out for Brett Wisely, and Wisely hit a deep sac fly to right, scored the run from third base, 2-0 Giants lead, and that was a huge run, because at this point you're thinking you're playing the Orioles. 1 run, absolutely not going to cut it. This team, I mean, they've been slumping lately, but this is a team that tears the cover off the ball offensively. Like, you do not want to be in a 1-run game with the Orioles, and the Giants have been pretty bad in 1-run games lately. We know this, not just lately, all season long. But sub 500, they've had a ton of these 1-run games. So this run was really important at the time. The Wisely sac fly to make it a 2-0 game. And then Mike Yastrzemski slaps a base hit into right field to score Grant McCray from second base. Again, another piece of the Mike Yastrzemski revenge game puzzle. A good piece of hitting from Mike Yastrzemski as well on that play to go the other way, go down and just slap the ball into right field. Santander was playing way in and made a great throw, but McCray, man, fast as Lightning McQueen, and scores anyways. Doesn't matter who's out there throwing the ball. Grant McCray is zooming around those bases, scores on the play, and man, it was I was really impressed by Grant McCray today also. I mean, he, by the way, I think I said Mike Yastrzemski went the other way on that pitch. No, he didn't. He pulled that ball into right field. What am I saying? Mike Yastrzemski is a lefty. Nonetheless, Grant McCray, great outing from Grant McCray. He stole a couple bases in this one as well. I really liked what I saw from him on the base paths, scoring from second, being aggressive. And then Wisely, again, later in this game, Brett Wisely lays down a sac bunt with Grant McCray at third, and the bunt wasn't perfect. The bunt, it was you know, a little too hard, a little too chopping up, a little too high down the first baseline. And the first baseman was crashing. Credit to the Orioles. They were ready for it. And he made a great play on it, got the ball right to home as quick as he could have. But Grant McCray, man, I mean, the way that Dave Fleming described it, he just floated down that third baseline. Yeah, he did, man. Like, he was so fast to home plate. I mean, this is a fun dimension of this Giants team that they really haven't had in at all this season. Like, they've had no steals, nobody that can like go out there and just be an automatic steal threat. Matt Chapman's coming around, Tyler Fitzgerald's coming around, but Grant McCray, this guy is a natural base stealer, and it gives the Giants an added dimension that they have not had offensively this year, and it allows you to put the pressure on opponents and create runs in other ways. And this is a good sign. If you add Jung-Hoo Lee to this mix next year, and you have a couple of guys that can run like this, imagine the amount of pressure that you can put on teams on the base paths almost every inning. If you stagger these guys in the lineup, I mean, you can get traffic on the bases and really put some pressure on other teams, especially with Chapman and Fitzgerald coming around on stealing some bags as well. I mean, you can have a guy on base damn near every inning if you get him on base. That's a big key for the Giants. That can put a lot of pressure on the opposing pitchers and really wreak havoc and score from second base on singles instead of being stopped and things like that, instead of playing station to station baseball. So this is a big sign for the Giants, something I've been really looking for out of this kid. Remember, he had 50 plus steals in one minor league season last year. So this guy is a certified stud on the base paths. There's some things that you can say may or may not translate to the big leagues. Speed translates everywhere. I mean, if this guy's stealing bases in single A, in double A, in triple A, in Mexico, in Puerto Rico League, in the Dominican League, I don't care where they're stealing bases. You're stealing 50 bases in one season. You can do it at the big league level as well. So Grant McCray proving that he's just as fast now as he was last year, I guess. But this guy, I think he deserves an extended look in the outfield to be the everyday outfielder next year. He's got a great glove, a great arm, got wheels for days. And I mean, this guy, he's got some sneaky power. He's popped a few home runs this year, and he's batting .239. So that needs to get better. Strikes out way too much. The OPS at 746 this year. So Grant McCray, I think, added a little bit to the to what we needed to see from him before the end of the season. He also picked up a hit in this one. McCray did, and he actually picked up 2 hits in this one, scored 3 times, drew 2 walks as well. So Grant McCray, a really nice night on base all 4 times that he got up to bat, and a 2-for-2 night out there in Baltimore. We got to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast, but on the other side, I just want to run through a little bit more about this Giants offense tonight, man. They really deserve some kudos. I mean, they've been so bad offensively for so much of this season, especially with runners in scoring position and in these situational at-bats. I want to go through both of these sacrifices that Wisely made, and I want to get into team at bats with runners in scoring position. We'll take a quick break here. On the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast, we're going to get into this Giants offensive eruption. 10 runs for the Giants out in Baltimore. Stick with us here. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. And today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And you know me, I mean, I always got some kind of action going somewhere. And so this week, the PrizePicks play, man, it's Taco Tuesday. Had to get in on the tacos, you know what I mean? So I got the Caleb Williams on the Taco Tuesday promotion, more than a half passing yard. I think that one's going to hit. I have a hunch. Breece Hall, more than 0.5 rushing touchdowns or receiving touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, 0.5, more than 0.5 rushing or receiving touchdowns. And Derrick Henry, more than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today we're talking about the Giants' 10-0 win, dominant win over the Baltimore Orioles. And I'm just taking a peek at the chat, the live chat, and I'm seeing a lot of people giving Grant McCray some credit, man. And it was a great game for the McCraylian. How are we feeling about that nickname, by the way? I've seen it a few times, McCraylian. I kind of like it. I mean, you got Jason Dominguez, who's already the alien out there for the New York Yankees. And maybe that's a little bit like, I don't know, but it instantly made me think of the Outkast album, AT-Aliens, even though they Grant McCray is not, related to that at all. It just kind of made me think of it. I mean, they kind of sound similarly, like syllable wise. I don't know, man. The McCraylian. Anyways, he had a great game though. 4 times on base tonight, and I really enjoyed watching him flying around those base paths. 3 runs scored for Grant McCray. I'm also seeing my guy Charles. Charles been in the chat a lot lately, saying he's gonna miss Blake Snell. And man, oh man, if this guy leaves in the offseason, so am I. I'm just living in a fantasy land where I'm just not even really thinking about that. In the back of my head, I've already convinced myself that Blake Snell is going to be a Giant next year, even though I know that's totally up in the air and completely unrealistic and not doing any favors for my future self by tricking myself into thinking that this is a surefire done deal thing. But I don't think I can handle the stress of feeling like Blake Snell is going to leave at the end of the offseason right now. I'm barely hanging on to get through this Giant season. I mean, you guys already know I had to. I went full like Britney Spears freak out from 2007. Shaved all the hair off my face the other day. Now I don't even recognize myself. Went to go pet my cat the other day. He looked at me and ran away. Did not even recognize me, man. I mean, geez. So that's what the Giants have been doing to me on a daily basis. So I'm just barely struggling to get through. I don't need the bad vibes to think about what's going to happen when Blake Snell's gone, Charles, man. We can at least wait till the end of the season for that one. I mean, come on. So regardless, I mean, I really hope Blake Snell stays. As I said at the trade deadline, I really thought they should have unloaded him because you got to secure talent going forward. You have to figure out a way to keep talent in this organization for years to come. And rolling the dice on a guy who, signed a 1-year deal with an opt-out at the end, might not be the best decision to make for ensuring that you have talent in the future. Who knows? It worked out with Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman came here basically on a deal that he could have left at the end of this year. Instead, he signs the extension. So let's hope that Blake Snell can do the same thing. Let's hope that Buster Posey can work his magic on that situation as well. I mean, that was a huge story that came out yesterday during the Giants off day. I know Ben probably did a lengthy show. I haven't gone and checked yet, but I know that Ben's all over it all the time. So Ben probably did a deep dive into that. For more information on that, go check out Ben's daily show. But the Giants, Andrew Baggerly basically saying Buster Posey was the centerpiece of getting that deal done with Matt Chapman, and that sends up a lot of flags to me that Farhan Zaidi, it's not as surefire a thing as we thought, that this guy is for sure going to be the captain of the ship in this offseason and next year for years to come for the Giants. Who knows if Buster Posey's out here brokering deals on his own, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in Farhan Zaidi. For me, if you have the ownership group coming down and undercutting him to do his job, that's not a great sign for Farhan. And I think if you're in the fire Farhan camp, that's a pretty good sign for you. I think that's something that you can probably read into. Some of these things I did not think were things that were like big deals, things that we should put a lot of weight behind. But this is a little bit different, man. It's Buster Posey. Buster Posey being the savior of the franchise again, a second time around. How cool would that be if Buster just becomes like the GM / president of baseball operations? Could you imagine? I'm starting to get like choked up thinking about it, man. If Buster, who brought 3 World Series to the Giants as a player, comes back around as a owner / GM and leads the Giants to the promised land in that fashion too, oh my God, this guy would be the greatest baseball player, baseball mind, baseball person of all time if he did that. Just insane. So I did tease that we were going to talk about the Giants offense today and everything they did. So let's get into that. Let's take one more quick break here. And on the other side, we'll get into this Giants offense. We got a little sidetracked there with the Blake Snell conversation, with the McCralian conversation, but yeah, all relevant stuff, all stuff that's definitely big news in this Giants sporting lexicon as we wind down this season, getting into the end of September now, the back half, September 17th. That season, this is the final road trip of the year, man. The final one. Giants only got one more homestand against the Cardinals, just a 3-gamer to end the season. So you only got one more chance to get back out to Oracle Park before the end of the season. Let's take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. On the other side, we're going to talk about this Giants offensive explosion. 10 runs for the Giants today. Wow. What a great day for the Giants. If only they could do this more than once every week and then lose every game in between. That would be awesome if they could figure that out. Let's stick with us here on the Locked On Giants postcast. We're going to take a quick break. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. And today's show is sponsored by FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you now through September 22nd. Coming up soon, all FanDuel customers can bet just $5 and get a free 3-week trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Get on this right now. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel any time. Man, you gotta get on this right now. And if that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's double your winnings for all of Sunday, this weekend. And Profit Boost will be live starting on Thursday. So view your account page now to learn more about your boost. Just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants erupted 10 runs, man, 10-0 dominant, just beat down over the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, if the Giants could maybe distribute some of these runs into some of these other games. I mean, they had a 13-run explosion a week ago, and then they got shut out in 3 consecutive games and lost 4 in a row. So maybe, hopefully not, but maybe this is the start of another Giants 4-game losing streak with 3 shutouts in between. I mean, how fitting would it be if the Giants come out tomorrow and a shutout loss against the Orioles? You know, this offense today really surprised me. From the jump, I mean, you could tell the way that Mike Yastrzemski just jumped all over that first pitch. It was like, oh, this is going to be one of those games for the Giants, huh? I just had a hunch, man, which is the exact opposite hunch of what I had going into this game. I saw that the Orioles somehow were listed as underdogs. So I took the Orioles on the money line. Are you kidding me? The Giants lost 4 in a row. I mean, shut out in 3 of their last 4. The Orioles 84-67. The Giants are like one of the worst teams on the road in all of baseball. Like, yeah, let's go with the Orioles on the money line. Who put them as dogs? Well, I guess that's what we need to get the Giants to win is me, the cooler, on my betting, especially after this last weekend of NFL bets. Sheesh, man. Oh, man, I was so confident about that Rams +1, and then look what happened there. But anyways, I was so confident on this too. That's all that we need to get the Giants back into a winning streak is I just got to start placing money line bets on whoever the Giants are playing, and the Giants surely will thwart my winnings. I thought for sure I could maybe I know it's bad form sometimes to bet against the team you root for, but I wanted to lessen the pain of the loss. You know what I mean? If the Giants are going to lose, I should at least make some money off of it, man. I mean, but then today, man, just didn't work out. Just getting it from all angles right now. But the Giants, they were getting the Baltimore pitchers from all angles today. 10 hits, 10 runs. The Giants, they struck out 11 times. Again, more double-digit strikeout games for the Giants. But when you go 5 for 9 with runners in scoring position, it doesn't really matter. And when you have 2 sacrifices in those situations also, I mean, you're really capitalizing on every chance you're getting. Not every chance, but a lot of these chances. I mean, the Giants only stranded 5 runners on base. It's just as many hits as they got with runners in scoring position. They only stranded 2 guys in scoring position with 2 outs. Bailey and Fitzgerald each were stranded. That's it. Everyone else that got into scoring position scored. That's amazing for this team who is, I mean, how many times have I come out here and cartoon steam blew out of my ears because I was so upset. My face got all, fire truck red because I'm sitting here screaming about the Giants going 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position again. Happens a lot. Has happened often this season. Today, 5 for 9. We got to give credit where credit's due. That 9th inning rally definitely padded those stats a little bit. The Giants, I think, had 2 or 3 hits with runners in scoring position before that 9th inning. And then that big 6-run rally that, Ramos had that smash, that double off the wall. Lamont Wade scored 2 runs on a single. There was a lot going for the Giants. They batted around in that 9th inning. Pat Bailey led off the inning with I believe a pop out. Pat Bailey led off the inning with a pop out, or ended the inning with a pop out after beginning the inning with a strikeout on a foul tip. So they bat around in that inning, and they had a ton of steal. Grant McCray stole second base, singled, Walton walked. Wisely then sack bunt to score Grant McCray from third base. So excellent situational hitting by Brett Wisely tonight, the 9th hitter. If you can have your 9th place hitter actually, doing something productive with his at bat, that's great any day of the week. But 2 RBIs for Wisely out of the 9-hole, 1 run scored as well. The sack bunt, we talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to break it down a little more because, man, even when to get this done when the other team kind of knows that you're going to do it requires you to have you have to be able to execute this at a higher level. Obviously, if the opponent knows what's coming, you got to just do it a little bit better. And Brett Wisely didn't lay down the world's most perfect bunt, but it was good enough. And that's a situational baseball. Your speed on third base. You have to get this ball down, and that McCray is moving down that line probably as soon as that ball gets to home plate. He's probably not running on first move, but it's not going to be a suicide squeeze, but he's moving as soon as that ball gets anywhere near home plate. So Wisely's got to make sure he makes contact with this pitch and gets it in play. He needs to make sure that he doesn't pop it up, because we've seen the Giants do this time and time again, where they are trying to score this run from third base and they, try to lay down a bunt and it's a pop-up out. I vividly remember Mike Yastrzemski doing this a couple of weeks ago, but to be fair, the very next night he did lay down a solid bunt in a similar situation. But, we remember the bad more than the good sometimes. And in that situation, I think people remember Mike Yastrzemski's pop-out bunt a lot more than you remember his other one. But that's also the thing with this is you're not ever going to really remember, as a fan, you're not going to be sitting there going, oh man, that was a great Brett Wisely bunt today. You're not going to be going home thinking about that. You're not going to be going home thinking about the Brett Wisely sack fly. But it's that kind of stuff that wins baseball games, and it's going to get lost in today's game because the Giants scored 10 runs. They had home runs. They had a couple extra base hits, a bunch of rallies, which this team has been allergic to rallies. A 6-run rally was a nice, refreshing thing to see in the 9th inning, especially because it had been a pretty close game all up until that point. 3-run game. They did this all against the Orioles closer, Kimbrel, by the way. It wasn't like they put some sacrificial like Luke Jackson-esque glam out there and said, go eat this last inning while we take this loss. No, they were still trying. Like, it's the Orioles. They have a potent offense. They had the potential to come back and score 3 runs in an inning any given day. Craig Kimbrel got shelled by this Giants team. So great job by the Giants getting to that Orioles bullpen, getting to their closer. Kimbrel gave up all 6 runs charged to Kimbrel, gave up 3 hits, 2 walks in this one as well. He did have 2 strikeouts. Couldn't get that 3rd out. It was just elusive to him. So Giants win today. A nice win in Baltimore, 10-0. They clobber the Orioles, and Lamont Wade Jr. goes out and has a nice homecoming in Baltimore. First time that he's played in front of his hometown. First time he's played in Camden Yards. It's also the last stadium in all of Major League Baseball for him to play in. And that's kind of crazy to me. The one that he grew up with it in his backyard, more or less, figuratively. And that's the last place he gets to go play in his professional career. So good for Lamont Wade to do this out in there in front of all 125 friends and family. The very likable late night Lamont coming up with a late 9th inning, 2 RBI single, and part of that huge 6-run rally in the 9th. Blake Snell, really a huge dominant force today, picks up his 4th win of the season. He's now over 500 record-wise as a pitcher, 4-3 on the year for Blake Snell. Man, wow, what a crazy record. What a wild season it's been for Blake Snell. Only give up 1 hit in 6 innings of work, 12 strikeouts, only 2 walks for Snellzilla. 3.31 ERA on the season. And the Giants, man, offensively, 5 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 2 different sacrifices from Brett Wisely. Great situational awareness and hitting. Grant McCray stealing bases. Man, this was an all-around great win. And no errors. No errors for the Giants. We love to see a donut under the E column. We either want, a triple E, me, or we want 0 E's for the Giants on the field. So the only time you want to see some E's is me, triple E, and I'll stop with my dumb jokes now. As we wrap up this Locked On Giants postcast, that's all the time we got for you guys today. 10-0 Giants win out in Camden Yards. We'll come to you live tomorrow as the Giants continue this series, this 3-gamer in Baltimore in this final road trip of this season. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you next time. Peace.